Good morning, kitty cat.
Good morning. How are we?
Oh, I have honestly been better. I mean, I'm
Same.
not the worst, but not the best. However, Jackson's off on a little adventure for a week, so Will and I are both kid free for the
Oh,
week.
well, I love that for y'all.
That's kind of nice. You know how I lied and said that I was never going to do sleepovers?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I've been allowing them at my house.
But they're at your house, so you're still not having letting him sleep over at other people's houses.
Yeah, no, we don't do the sleepover at other people's houses, but they were rioting. It was the night of Thunder and Pacers in OKC.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
they were up very late. The Braves were also playing, so it was a lot going on. And I don't know if it makes me a bad mom, but I'm like, I can't hold my eyes open anymore. Like, I'm going to bed. I'm closing my door. Please do not burn down this fucking place. Do not get hurt. Don't be jumping off of anything and put yourself to bed.
They're 12. Like, they're not 6. You know what I mean?
I know, but I mean, the crazy shit that you would not even think that 12-year-olds would do. I mean, they came home and looked like absolute fucking dirt daubers.
Oh, okay.
They were
Been
playing on the
there.
golf course and had mud from head to toe all
Hmm.
over them. I am down to one pair of white socks left in this house.
Wait, I was on the phone with Kristen, right? I don't remember what day it was. I'm on the phone with Kristen and I'm not yelling at my kids, but I'm like, why are you outside with white socks on and no shoes? And Lindsie literally, or not Lindsie, Kristen literally is on the phone saying something about you sound like Lindsie or something because you are saying the same thing. And I said, wait, I said, so what is Lindsie doing? Like, what is she doing about this? And I think she said something about like black socks. I said, I don't think that Lindsie is a fan of black socks. I don't know if she's going to let Jackson wear black socks, but we don't have a choice because these socks, and they're always Nike crew socks. And I'm like, why are you outside in the fucking dirt with Nike crew socks on? I don't have $45 to continue to buy you more Nike
Shit
fucking
that
crew
you
socks.
ruin. And then it's also like what really fucking chaps my ass is they'll be outside playing basketball or something and these white crew socks. And then there's the friction from them playing basketball on the bottom.
Tears
So
them up.
they're all fucking ripped out. It's like a blown out sock in the bottom. It's like, also, what the fuck are you wearing?
So I just looked up Nike crew socks. Okay, they're $25, but I have 7 kids and it's never Elliot. It's always Lincoln, Lux, and Creed. So we're talking $75 in socks for the
Mm-hmm.
week. Because if you have 7 pairs of socks, I can't. I literally can't. And I'm always like telling them over and over again. Like that's why we have Crocs. That's why we have Hey Dudes. That's why we have
Yep.
slides. It's not that difficult to slide your sock into a freaking slip on.
Oh, let me show you what transpired. These were what the socks looked like on Friday night's sleepover. Right here. I've gotten to a point because Will and I made a pact. We're like, number one, you're getting knockoff socks. Like Nike is no longer an option.
Same. Same.
Knockoffs. Like we're going to Costco, buying whatever, like I think
Crew
this Gray
socks there
Skechers
are.
brand. Like that's what you're getting. Also, you will not have a pair of white socks until you have an actual job that you can buy yourself white socks.
We're doing black socks from now on.
That's all we have. I'm down to one pair of white socks left. And once those are gone, I'm not even washing them anymore. Once they are
I
muddy, they're trash.
One of my kids' dads made a comment about the socks compared to the shoe color a
Yeah.
couple of years ago. It was either last year or the year before. And so it's stuck with me ever since. And I have not deviated from that. And so I unfortunately will still be buying white socks, but I will not be getting the Nike Crew socks anymore. It's like, and there's nothing wrong with Walmart, but that is what I'm doing from now on because they can't take care of their stuff. They literally are not. And I'm redoing all the kids' rooms right now. So currently everything is in Lincoln's room since he's in Virginia. Um, all of the twin stuff is in Lincoln's room while I paint and I'm not painting, someone else is painting, while someone does the room up there. And so that's going to be the situation. So when I move Lux and Creed's rooms around, I'm going to be going through purging the socks that have holes in them, the ones that are so stained they look like they belong in the trash. Like I'm going to go through all of it.
Oh, trust me. That's what I've been doing. And my nanny called me one day and I was doing laundry and she goes, "Is he better about his socks now?" And I said,
No.
No, why would you assume that?
Why would you even ask? That goes, what's understood doesn't need to be explained.
Yeah. And she was like, nope, I would just have to throw those straight in the trash can. And I would tell him that he's going to have to get socks from TJ Maxx.
Yep.
I'm
But
like,
they
yeah,
do have, we should probably check TJ Maxx. They probably have socks there for discounted. But also, um, Buddha is going to the vet today because we found 2 tumors on him.
oh no. I
Yeah,
don't feel like he's even that old.
he's 6. Um, well, he'll be 6 this year, so he's 5. One on his I guess is his hip, and one on his paw. And I found them one day apart, but they were, I it more so the one on his hip looked like a piece of like hair that was like tufted up, like it was like, I don't know, like maybe he got into the dirt or something. And so I went to go like see what it was, and as sure as shit, it was a little tumor. So he's going to the vet today. And I promise you, if anything happens with Buddha, I'm not getting another dog. Like you heard it here first. I'm not.
I keep saying that. And now Jackson's like, hey, mom, since it's summer and we've almost had Oliver for a year, can we get it a playmate? And I said, yeah, I got it a playmate, you. And then I got him, so you had a playmate.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we're not doing that. But let me tell you the craziest shit that happened to me. So Friday rolls around, and mind you, I have been delaying this like hot tub delivery situation because there has been so much rain here.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like we live in Florida now. Like it's just like these pop-up thunderstorms, torrential downpours, terrible for literally going on 4 weeks now. So I like keep delaying this. Finally, we get it set up, and I had taken a video and photos like leading down to where this hot tub needed to go. Drivers get here and they've got 4 guys with them. Mind you, this hot tub is roughly 800 pounds. So it is not a liftable thing no matter how many men that you have. So they were having to use like the dollies and whatever. They asked me, where do you want it in your driveway? And I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, before we go any further, like, can you call the receiving company? Because I sent them video and photo of like where this needed to go. And nowhere did I say that this was going to live in my driveway for right now.
Why would they even assume that? Because then how would you get it from your driveway to said permanent location?
Don't know. Maybe that would be my own problem, which it was not going to be my problem. So they get it here. It was probably like a 3 hour long situation that was transpiring. And Saturday, I take Jackson and his friend to get Dunkin' Donuts. We go to Target, and I go and have like a little lonely lunch by myself. I love a good lonely lunch. So then I'm just like having this little lonely lunch thinking, okay, sleepover's over, like hot tub's been delivered, everything's going well. I get a cold call from a local number. So I answer it because sometimes it might be like the dog daycare or like something like that. So I answer it, and it's one of the guys that were with the delivery company. And he told me that I needed to contact the receiving company because they needed more money.
More
They,
money to move it to put it where it was supposed to go?
yeah,
No, because you were explicitly clear about where it was supposed to go. That's on them.
that's on them. So, and I also like contacted the receiving company and then talked to the drivers, and I was trying to like be the liaison between them so that nothing got messed up, and wanted to make sure that they actually got paid properly, right? And they kept saying that the receiving company didn't pay them enough and that they needed to be paid more. So then I get off the phone with the guy, and then I get a text message, and it's a Cash App. So I immediately call the receiving company as a single mom living in this house by myself, knowing that they now know my address and they're trying to get additional money. Absolutely not. I do not feel comfortable with that. The poor woman that owns the company called me this morning and was like, I am so sorry that that happened. And the man evidently lost his job.
That's not on you though. That was a them problem, and that's not okay. I mean, even still, even if it was you, like you didn't say where it was going and it was supposed to be in the driveway, for a professional to request more funds from you through Cash App, to me, is a fireable offense. This is not like some person that you got off like TaskRabbit or something.
I know.
No, absolutely not.
I felt so uncomfortable. I was like, oh my God, they like know what my address is. They know that like I'm here by myself. There was no man here. I have a little kid here.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that.
Terrifying, right?
Funny enough though, when you were getting the hot tub, like after you had ordered it, I went to Kristen and I was like, I feel like I should get a hot tub. And she was like, Lindsie just got one. But then she told me that you have to have like an electrician come out to like rewire a bunch of shit. At that point, I was like, maybe not, never mind, because I didn't feel like going through all like because it'll like take the electricity from your house or something.
No, so you have to have your own, like its own circuit for it. I mean, it took maybe 3 hours for the guys to do it this morning. They just add it to your little panel, like where all your stuff like has the little switches.
Yeah.
They just add like an additional one to that panel, and then right outside the unit, it has a different turn off and shut off, like turn on and shut off.
Okay. So, and then how do you clean it? Do you like have to put like chemicals in it or?
Yeah, so I was reading a lot about it. There's a decent amount of rules that I didn't know about hot tubs. Like you should not be getting in there with like body stuff like all over your body because it can cause like a film on the outside of the hot tub. I think you're supposed to clean it once a week. You probably would have to clean it more because it's based on the amount of people that use it.
See, here's the thing, because I really do want one. I also want a sauna. My friend Matt got a sauna. The sauna would be for me specifically, but the hot tub, and I know that there's like controversy surrounding kids in hot tubs. My kids love fucking hot tub.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have to, like, if I got one, it would have to be for like Lincoln's age up only.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't, and like me and my girlfriends is not going to be for my kids. So I'm not,
Yeah.
no, because they don't
No.
like their butts great and then they want to get in the hot tub. I think the fuck not.
Ew. Wait, also, what's wrong with kids like not knowing how to wipe their ass? Can we just
I mean,
like
I
talk
can't
about
expect
that?
Creed at 4 years old to not wipe his butt good, and then you know what I mean, like to wipe his butt good enough, and then he wants to go get in the hot tub. No, I can't let that. No, no.
I'm gonna choke. I'm going to choke. No. At what point do men like stop getting skid marks?
I don't think they ever do. I think when they're grown men, they also get skid marks. I
Okay,
really
don't
think that.
say who, but have you ever found skid marks on a grown man's underwear?
I have.
You have?
Hmm.
Were you disgusted?
Yeah, it was Jordan.
Wait,
It was
why did you have to say that?
it was Jordan, and I dated him. I think I was 18 and 19, and he was 3 years older than me because I was March 14th. He was March 18th. So I was eight. He was 21 years old and having skid marks. I'll
Wait,
never forget it.
wait, why is it every single time I go into my ex-husband's house, he goes to his laundry and he pulls Jackson's underwear out and he's like, he needs to learn to wipe.
Yeah, these fucking kids need to learn how to wipe. I got kids doing the same thing. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all?
Wait, but how old is too old to be wiping your kid's ass? Like, I don't do it anymore. I'm not saying that. So, like, don't start coming at me.
I think by the time I don't wipe Lux's butt, and Lux is 7. Creed, I still need to wipe his butt sometimes.
Listen,
He's
like,
4.
I don't know what they do with the toilet paper. And
Sometimes
then,
I'll go up in my boy's bathroom and they didn't even flush the toilet.
oh, they just like let them swim.
And I'm like, I have to come up here to like check on the conditions of these rooms and you didn't even flush the toilet and I don't know how long it's been sitting here. It's
Oh,
disgusting.
well, Jackson has this theory that if it's brown, that's when you flush it down, but if it's yellow, let it mellow.
Yeah, maybe in the middle of the night.
No, like you just need to fucking flush.
I don't want to wake anyone up. It's so loud. I can't, my sensories can't handle it.
Wait, what?
Like in the middle of the night, like if I wake up at 1 in the morning and I go
Yeah.
pee, I am not flushing that. It is too fucking middle of the night for me to hear this loud noise right now.
I mean, how loud is your toilet? Is it like dual flush?
It's just too much at 1 in the morning. It'll be there when I wake up at 7, 6:30. It'll be there. I'll
No,
flush it
because then
then.
it's leaving like a ring like around your thing. It's just no. If I go into a bathroom in this house and there is piss marinating, I swear to God, I'll kill someone.
I'm marinating
I
piss.
swear.
I can't.
I'm not kidding. I did not grow up dirty, and we're not having that in my house.
Speaking of growing up dirty, I feel like I did grow up dirty. So
You did?
Well, no, my mom and my grandparents were not dirty, but like questionable things, right? Like
Mhm.
nobody really taught me how to do any of the stuff. It was just like I was picking up what was around me. So,
Wait, that's such an interesting topic because how do people that grow up just like with no knowledge to know how to do something like you, how do you figure out how to do it? Like, where do you start?
that's a great question. Like we've talked about how some people don't wash their legs in the shower. They just expect like the soap to run down and that's like washing their legs. Like
Uh
I
huh.
think about that, right? For example, nobody taught me to do that, right? Like nobody taught me to do that. But actively today, I tell my kids, wash from the head down. So you're going to wash your
Hmm.
hair, wash your face, wash your body, make sure you get your legs, stuff like that. I'm saying that to them. Or I'll go in. I mean, I used to shower with the littles, so like I would show them how to do it. Nobody did that for me. So I don't know. I think some people just don't do it because they were really never taught.
But I feel like the people who weren't taught to do that stuff, and I might be like way off, but I feel like y'all have more common sense. But is that common sense a survival mechanism?
For some people, because some people, one of my kids specifically, if I don't sit there and like am walking him through it every single time, he's still not doing it. Lincoln Marshall Merriquin. I'm like, actually, oh my god. So we went to this fucking soccer tournament, and I
Uh-huh.
picked up my nephew for the soccer tournament. He wanted to go support Lincoln before Lincoln moved away for the summer, and so we're at this hotel, and the hotel had three washcloths hanging up on a bar, and then three towels above the bar, right?
Okay.
So they go outside. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get in the shower. When I get out of the shower, y'all can get in the shower, whatever.
Hmm.
I take one of the washcloths. That leaves two washcloths hanging up on the bar.
Hmm.
And I come out of the shower and they both take showers. Like one goes in and then the other one goes in. And
Washcloths are still there.
I wake up in the morning and I looked at both of them and I said, y'all are dirt balls. I said, you guys didn't wash your body with washcloths. You're sick. You guys are sick. So I made sure when they went in the second time that y'all washed with a washcloth. And they're older kids.
Okay, well, I was
Dirty.
raised to wash with a washcloth, and then I think we got like onto the loofah for like a little while, but then for some reason we went back to the washcloth method. I use my hand.
What?
I
What?
I use my hand. I don't think I've used a washcloth in
No,
like
you don't.
at least 5 years, I swear to God.
You do not use your hand. Why are
Yes,
you
I
lying?
do.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I will put it all up in my ass and like everywhere.
I don't know if you're like, are you joking to get my reaction? Because I
No,
don't
I
believe you.
swear to you. I have not, I swear to you, I have probably not used a washcloth in like at least 5 years.
I don't believe you.
I'll give you
Why?
a tour.
Why do you not use a washcloth?
It's just like something else to get dirty that's like no need when my hand can just like do it. Like,
No, your hand cannot do it. I cannot believe I'm having this conversation with you. Your hand cannot just do it. Your hand, this hand,
yeah,
if you rub soap on it, is
yeah.
not getting the dirt off of your skin, is not getting the sweat. And if you, like, for example, if you don't shave every single day, which I don't, there's hair, right? So, like, if I haven't shaved my armpits today, in 2 days, they're going to be a little prickly. There is like bacteria and buildup around the hair follicles. You have to like wash it with a washcloth.
No, because I just feel like the washcloth is just creating friction that I don't feel like I need. Like I'm not really a sweaty type of person. Actually, I think that's like a genetic thing. Not really a sweaty type, and I just don't feel like I have dirt on me. Like, where do I go that I get dirt?
Sweat,
I don't do chicken
makeup,
chores. I don't do like any of that.
lotion.
I will tell you that I wash my face 3 times. But do you use a washcloth to wash your face?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I have seen somebody do this. I'm not going to tell you who did it. I've seen somebody use a washcloth all over their entire body and then wash their face last.
No.
And I'm like, you know that your asshole is on that. Can you imagine?
Okay. That's disgusting. But so is using your hand. You need to use a washcloth immediately. Like I don't even. I feel like you're bamboozling me.
Kail, I cannot be more honest with you right now. Lord strike me dead. If you were listening, I do not use a washcloth and have not in years. I also
Okay.
don't use a loofah. I just like,
The loofah I can't get behind anymore. Ever since my friend showed me that hers like held mold, I just can't.
mhm.
If the Lord is listening, we have a fucking problem. Get the fucking exfoliating gloves. What in the hell? No, I
Kristen said we
agree.
need a bidet. We need dude wipes.
Well, what's concerning too is like the kids in like kindergarten and like first grade that can't wipe their butts. The
Mhm.
toilet paper is not going to help them. They do need wipes, but then the wipes are expensive. So it's like who's providing the wipes?
You know, whenever I was in kindergarten, I used to call home for my parents to come wipe me.
Who who is wiping butts in kindergarten?
Nobody. That's why they have skid marks. That's
But
literally why they
it
come
just
home.
sucks because it's like wipes would be better, but like who's really providing that
And
and making
could
that
you
happen?
imagine being a teacher up at that schoolhouse and all these kids just going and dropping fucking atomic bombs in the bathroom, not wiping? You know that shit stinks. Like, could you imagine? I'm actually disgusted.
Before we transition into whatever else we're going to talk about, I just want to address a TikTok that Lindsie had seen over the weekend and sent to me. I did comment on this TikTok that Kristen's about to play, and so if you guys just want to listen to it, we have a couple things that we want to address.
So I am an avid Coffee Convos podcast listener. Like I love their podcast. Every time I listen to it, it feels like I'm sitting down, drinking a cup of coffee with my friends and just chilling. Always enjoy them. They're fodder on like parenting and just different things. I actually did a road trip once and it was the only thing I wanted to listen to. So I listened to it from Tennessee to Ohio, Ohio to Tennessee. And I love the show. Like I tune in pretty much every week. It's something I listen to when I work out or I'm doing my job. And I just have to say, I'm kind of frustrated as a listener because they have so much going on in their life. And not that they have to disclose everything, but I would think if your dad got out of prison, you might want to be like, hey, this is kind of a sensitive topic. Maybe I don't want to talk about it, but we'll have a placeholder. Nothing. Nothing. Nothing at all. They're talking about Dick's Sporting Goods. I don't care about Dick's Sporting Goods. That's not why I tune in to listen to y'all. Anyway, it's just my opinion from somebody who listens to the podcast. But Kail also has a ton of stuff going on right now. Like the two of them have a lot of stuff. So it's just like a really awkward podcast to listen to now because like it's just kind of like phony and fake. So I don't know if anyone else listens to it. But I just wish they could sit down and be like, yo, my daddy just got out of prison and my baby daddy might have cheated. and my other baby daddy's accusing me of not being a very good mom. So, but I will see what happens. But yeah, I didn't even finish the podcast. So maybe they did talk about it. I just couldn't take it anymore. I was like, what are we talking about?
So, with that being said, I commented once Lindsie had sent me this TikTok, I commented on the video and I said every single thing that has transpired is life altering and we just need a minute to process before we talk about it. And I think maybe that's what she meant. Like if we would have just said that sentence on the podcast. But I did also let people know in our group, like on our Facebook group, like we were supposed to record a second episode that day and y'all called me and were like, you cannot record the second episode. Like your head is not in it. I'm working with my therapist on what to address, what I should be addressing, what I shouldn't be addressing. For me, Javi saying that I'm not a good mom or I'm not a very good mom right now is what she said.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch Javi's live in its entirety. I only saw certain pieces of it. And I will say that, one, we talk about power in the pause all the time on this podcast. And I have preached to so many, people and so many times I've preached about being transparent. It's not that I don't want to be transparent, but why am I going to sit here and defend who I am as a mom to any fucking buddy? I really don't care what Javi says because I was fine as a mom up until the Spanish immersion event and the soccer practice that I was late to that had nothing to do with Lincoln, and it was Lux's practice and Lux was on time, I am now not a good mom because my decisions and my choices don't align with yours for 1 week out of the entire year. I don't need to sit up here and defend who I am as a mom. The people in my life know who I am as a mom. They see me as a mom. They see me showing up for pickup and drop off. If I'm not dropping off 30 out of 180 days of school, that doesn't make me a bad mom. If I'm working and I'm late to practice, that doesn't make me a bad mom. I was in Philly working and I was 33 minutes late to a practice. And I don't think that it was Hobby's place to disclose anything. So that's where I stand on all of it. I do plan to address everything in detail and go line by line, but I want to work everything out with my therapist in a way that is going to be already processed and also on my own time. I don't want to show up emotionally charged. I don't want to cry on live. I don't want to exaggerate things or leave details out like Javi did. I'm not going to do any of that. I want to come fully transparent in a way that I'm already processed it, and then I can give it to everybody else for them to digest. Like, at the end of the day, I did create my success out of exploiting my own personal life, but these things that I'm would be exploiting are like life altering things. So I just need a minute to do that. And I just need everyone to give me some time to do that. It's not me getting my lies together. It's not me trying to hide my life from you guys. It's just that they're life altering. And I think you can say the same.
I think that it's fair to say if we're going to tell people about therapy journeys and be transparent about those and say what I'm using right now is power in the pause, and I might be stuck in the middle of the pause. We can't the next week go on a podcast and just blabber off about something without processing it ourselves.
Well, I think people, and I'm speaking for myself, and like the things that I'm seeing about myself is like specifically the trolls and the haters, because I don't think they're the same. I think there are people who are truly haters, but not necessarily trolls. And then there are people who are like, oh, wow, this is from Javi. This holds a lot of weight because it's coming from Javi. You cannot demand answers from me immediately. And simultaneously, then, if I come forward and I'm emotionally charged and I address every single thing, get mad at me and say, Kail's the same. She's raging. She's denying. She's lying. She's deflecting. But you just demanded answers from me and you didn't even give me a chance to like process this and do it the right way according to therapy. So if I'm preaching power in the pause, don't sit here and cry when I'm not giving you answers right away.
Well, and to Kristen's point, she told me multiple times, because I've battled with this over the last couple of weeks, and people are like, oh, well, Lindsie hasn't made a statement and it's just crickets. And, it's just like this fakery bakery essentially that's being ran, that her and Kail are just on here talking about Dick's Sporting Goods. No, people have to understand that when there are big life things happening, it's not like you're going to your job, whether it be a 9 to 5 or whatever your job situation looks like, and you're unloading all of your personal stuff onto those people in your working environment. I don't think that that was the right thing to do. And to Kristen's point, transparency does not have a timeline.
I don't understand why I can't be transparent a month from when it occurs. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't mean that I'm not being honest. It just means I need a minute to process. And like, you didn't even answer me when I asked how you were doing about your parents getting out of prison. Like, you didn't even answer, and I'm in your personal life. Yeah. And so I can't sit here if you're not answering me and you need space before you even answer me. Or Kristen, I don't know if you've had conversations with her about how you feel. I don't know. But like, if you can't even talk to me about it, why are you going to get on a public platform and do it?
I think it's a situation to where I have to look at things that I've said prior to any of this transpiring, right? That I'm no longer going to speak on it. And I don't feel like, because of people's opinions of last name association, means that I have to have a comment about everything. I'm not commenting on it in my personal life. I don't want to comment on it publicly. To answer the simple questions, am I glad that they're home? Yes, I am glad. I don't think the time was justified. I do not. And I have always said that. I'm glad that they're home, and I hope that it is a new journey for them to be able to just breathe finally again. It was a long going situation that I felt like changed dynamics of everything forever.
I mean, I would agree.
And because of that, I don't feel like it's necessarily my place to have a public voice for that. That's not my life. And it's not my place to be making comments on other people's lives, regardless of last name or not.
And I think that's fair. I don't know why people would assume that you would have anything to say about it.
I mean, there's been so many TikToks, so many DMs, are you going to say this? Are you going to say that? You cannot make me say anything. I will say I am absolutely so happy for them. I am proud of my sister for her sticking by it. And I really think that she did the damn thing. And for that, I am proud. I am so happy for everything that they have going on. And outside of that, there's nothing else that I have to say.
I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say. I just want to make sure that I
Also, in your situation, and truly in mine too, there are minors involved in that situation, both of those situations. Yours very differently because you share custody with that person. And so I think for that reason alone, I'm not shocked that you paused.
I just didn't. Was there?
When
Like I
someone comes out swinging like that,
Well, what's crazy, I mean, and I'll say this when I address everything line by line, but he said, Javi said something in the live at one point that was like, "Oh, I knew she was going to blow up my phone or whatever." I literally, do you want to know what I asked him? I literally sent him a text and I said, "Did you do a live about me?" Question mark, because people were sending it to me and I couldn't see it because he has me blocked. That was where it started and stopped. I never blew up his phone. I didn't call him. I didn't like, I literally wasn't sure what was going on. That was the text was, "Did you do a live about me?" Question mark. And I never followed up. I never got an answer, but I will say this. I did go up to Lauren later in the week and asked her what her involvement was in all of that. And she said absolutely nothing. And I feel bad for Lauren. Lauren is not the problem. She's never been the problem. And if you boil it all down, Hobby and I have been the problem. And people will call it deflection. People will say it's me, you know, trying to not have the heat on me. But Javi triangulated me and Lauren hating each other this whole time. I don't care how many times, or I don't care how many times Javi has played victim and how many times I have swallowed my pride and apologized to him. But really, when I look at it all now after he did that, I feel bad for Lauren. I feel bad for how I treated her. And it really boils down to Javi and myself, but mostly Javi triangulating all of this so that Lauren and I would hate each other and then playing victim as if Kail was the problem. Javi doesn't want me to speak on what I am thinking about speaking on. And I brought it up to my therapist this morning. The only thing holding me back is Lincoln. So if he wants to vilify me to the internet where ultimately Lincoln will see and he will talk about, my relationship track record, he could talk about my kids' dads, he doesn't want it to be normalized, and it's not normal. It's not.
and I think that's the sticky thing about these public relationships, right? Like my family too, because not everybody has all of this stuff out in the public. So for people to give us advice on what we should be doing or what we shouldn't be doing or how we should be addressing something, your life, when you're giving that advice, your life's not public in the same way. So you might can privately be able to address in that way, but you're not doing that in a public space to where you're literally a spectacle for everybody to see. The only thing I want to speak on personally regarding Hobbies Live is you are around nothing but enablers. I don't believe that to be true at all. I am
That
very
was fucked.
much,
That was fucked. I can speak for a lot of people in my life, don't agree with every fucking decision I make, every person I date, every relationship I'm in. They could express and y'all have expressed concerns about my relationships, but that doesn't mean you stop being my friend.
the enabler comment really sent me And I told Kristen that, and I also talked to Alessandra about it because it was almost like it was a personal attack on the people who surround you. And while we all are friends and we all also work together, he doesn't know what the conversations are internally with us. And there's a reason for that. That's why it's called a friendship. That's why it's called a private business working relationship. And so he doesn't get to have the right to go on live and say we're nothing but enablers. No, the fuck we aren't, because you aren't there for the private conversations.
I would also like to address something else. I got on Barely Famous podcast with Javi and promised him that I wasn't going to make Wawa jokes anymore. And I was doing that out of like the well-being of all of us, our co-parenting relationship for Lincoln. I thought Lauren and I finally were cool. First of all, Wawa didn't stem the jokes. The jokes are separate from my love for Wawa. They're two separate things. So when I got on TikTok and did a trend and put Wawa, that people were like, oh, Javi said that you were going to bring this up. This goes to show like you're still the same person. I was obsessed with Wawa before the teen mom scene. So the people that came in for the teen mom scene and think that my association with Wawa has anything to do with Javi, no, I just said I was going to stop making jokes out of respect for him. I am not going to stop doing anything now. I think he went live for like 11 minutes or something like that. The amount of details that he left out of that entire situation, of all the situations he listed out, diabolical.
I also just want to say that, for the people out there saying that, you're more focused on a man or your career and not your children, I'm here to say, without getting permission from Kail to say it, that her entire working situation, whether it be for whatever podcast or whatever shit she's got going on, always revolves around the kids' custody schedules.
Always, always. And to get on here and talk about me not being at pickups and drop-offs and soccer practice, let's talk about that for a second, because he just smacked everybody in working America and corporate world, anyone who is not a stay-at-home mom. The reason I have the flexibility that I have for my kids' schedule is for what I do for work. That may mean that I'm missing a practice here and there. All of us, Joe, Javi, whoever, is able to do what they do because we have the luxury and the privilege of having flexible schedules. There is, I would say, most of the people here in America are not able to make every practice and not able to make every school pick up and drop off. If the kids were on a busing system, how would it be different, right? Like, there are so many things that I could say about his little live. And I got a lot of heat for it. Because what he says allegedly holds weight, but there is a lot that I want to say and like break down, because I don't think that it's just, we should take exactly what Javi says and just let it hold the weight that it holds. There's two sides and then the truths that fall somewhere in the middle. But like, his perspective, I think, is a little skewed because he's highly emotional about the situation with Lincoln. So for me, I just think that I should get in more in depth at a later time once I've processed all of it and I know exactly what I want to say.
I agree. And back to the working parents thing, I think even when you were filming for Teen Mom, I feel like you had, and I don't want it to sound bad, but there was like less working things that were going on for you outside of filming. It was like at one point it was Coffee Convos and then Teen Mom. And so I do think that you had a lot of flexibility within that. And also your kids were filming with you too. So it made it a lot easier for you not to miss stuff. And like going all the way back when we had the conversation about, you feeling like you never want to miss practices or you never want to miss a game. I get that when you're going through custody stuff and you see your child half the time, you want to try to be at as much as you possibly can, but you also have to provide. So you now have 3 different podcasts. 2 of those podcasts you have to travel a significant amount for. And I know for a fact that you've been picked up at wee hours of the morning to go into the city and leave at night and go home.
But to him, that's not good enough. For him, he messaged me at one point and said that I need that I told him that I was going to scale back my travel, which I did, which I absolutely scaled back my travel. And obviously I needed to finish out the school year with whatever I was planning on doing, because he went back and forth and was switching his date of when he needed to be in Virginia, when he wasn't. Oh, I'm switching, blah, 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 blah. So it kept going back and forth. But now I have scaled it back to the point where I am barely traveling, canceled all my tour dates for 2025. Like, I have made significant changes, but that's not good enough. And I want to break down more what he's saying, because I can't even, in my opinion, it's just,
But I think
this
it's
all could have been, he could have cussed me out via email or phone call.
I think it's important for people who are listening to this to understand that mine and your business jointly revolves around both of our custody schedules.
Mm-hmm.
And at the point that you knew what was going on with Lincoln behind the scenes, but we're not talking about that publicly yet, and tour dates were canceled for the fall because I was going to go out for coffee convos on some of those tour dates.
Yep.
It's devastating.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you're doing the right thing.
I mean, I was devastated when Kristen and I did a phone call where it was like, okay, I had known that Javi was moving for a significant amount of time before we announced it to the public. And at that point, I said to Kristen, like, we're not even going to be able to do spring tour dates at this point, because I'm going to need to figure out, I don't want to be away for any time that I'm going to have like, it was just too much. So the sacrifices that I have made and have been willing to make were not mentioned at all. Like, some of the things that Javi was like, again, any of this could have been a phone call.
It absolutely could have been a phone call. And I know that you've said before, like, Lindsie and Will doesn't have all this shit like playing out on the internet. I just wonder if he possibly regrets what he did. It seemed like it was very emotionally charged. And sometimes we do things when we don't practice power in the balls. And then you get a situation like that. Kristen made a great point. She said internal business decisions are always made to make sure that we're there for the kids. And so, I think that also needs to be acknowledged, that we are stunted sometimes, or feel like we are stunted sometimes in business because of custody situations.
No, I am stunted in business because of my custody decisions. If it was up to me, I should have been moved to LA, to New York, to Houston, to fucking Atlanta for work, for podcasting opportunities, because I've grown in the podcast space. But never once did I say, you know what? Let me uproot my kids' lives and move to LA or move to New York, where it would benefit me and my career. I have made it exponentially, I don't know if that's the right context, harder on myself to stay here in Dover, Delaware, but I knew it was in the best interest of my kids to be where they've always grown up.
I don't have anything against Javi. I think that, like, hurt people, and I think that he's hurting. And so I think that he went on there and it was an emotionally charged situation. And a lot of times people end up regretting those decisions.
And this conversation that you and I are having won't be good enough. People will say, Kail's saying a whole lot of nothing. She's deflecting. She's blaming Javi. And that's also hard, because I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't.
We have 2 listener topics that we need to make sure that we get to on this episode. And I thought the first one was kind of funny because I can just imagine what your response is going to be. It says, growing up, what were your fondest memories of your childhood? Was it the food that your parents cooked? Was it family holiday traditions? Was it family vacations or something else? As a new mom, I'm curious. I would love for my kids to look back and think, damn, I had an awesome childhood.
None of the above. Growing up, what are some of your fondest memories of your childhood? Couldn't tell you. Could not fucking tell you. My mom cooked fettuccine Alfredo one time when I was in the 9th grade. I remember that.
How do you remember that she cooked that?
Because I remember that was like one of the only times she ever cooked in my whole childhood.
What?
And it was before she went to rehab. So, and it was fettuccine Alfredo it was like the jarred sauce with frozen broccoli. Like, it really, like, I remember. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents and like childhood friends' houses. I would say those are like memories that nothing of like my immediate mother, daughter, stepfather childhood is a fond memory for me.
For me, I feel like, and I've said this to you before, I don't think it's insensitive for me to say this. I don't miss my parents ever being together because I never knew them together. Like I have zero childhood memories of Todd and Teresa at all. So it's kind of like I had the best of both worlds because Julie was a great stepmom. Um, my mom was married to somebody who was decent to me, and they took us on vacations. Like it was almost like we got, and I see this happening to Jackson now too. It's like he's getting double the amount of vacations per year from us being divorced, if that makes sense. And I feel like I kind of got that growing up too. I spent a significant amount of time with my grandparents until I was about in fourth grade. And those are memories. Like Jackson and I have been watching like old school movies lately. Well, Jackson calls them old school. They're really from the 90s, like Matilda
Oh
and The
yeah.
Doubtfire and those movies, Sandlot. And I watched all those movies with my grandparents, and it made me kind of feel like a little nostalgic whenever I was watching them with him. So I love doing stuff like that. Julie was a fantastic cook. Like that was probably one of the biggest things that I missed leaving home.
I will say, even if we order takeout, I try to eat at the table more nights out of the week than not. Elliot actually brought that up to me, um, either yesterday or the day before. Either yesterday or the day before, he was like, um, he said, at your house, we sit at the table and ask everybody how is everyone's day? Like, it's Lincoln's question. He'll say, okay, once everyone's sitting down, like, how is everyone's day? And we go around the table and rate our day and like why. And he said that they don't do that at their dad's. So like, yes, while I may be traumatizing my kids to some degree in their lives, there are some things that I think they'll remember forever that are positive.
Is
So,
that like
and
a play off of what the Kardashians do, like where they go around the table and it's like, what was your pit and what was your peak?
oh yeah, I mean, I didn't know they did that. Is that on the show?
I don't know if it was like on the show or I saw it somewhere that they did that. And I love the idea. Jackson will just flat out tell me immediately when there's a pit or a peak, so we don't have to do that.
Also, I just want to say something that my therapist said to me this morning when I was in therapy, because I just brought up like traumatizing our kids. I think the word trauma and traumatized has become a buzzword, and my therapist told me that there is a big difference between impact and influence versus trauma. So, like,
Okay.
I think because of social media and we're therapizing everybody, and everybody needs therapy, and everyone's in therapy, everything is trauma. If I make
Mhm.
this decision, is it going to traumatize my kids? This decision that I make is not necessarily traumatic. It may impact the way my kids look at me. It may impact, their lives or shape the way they see something, but that is not the same as trauma. So I just would like to say that.
I mean, isn't it interesting though, like what kids see in a split household versus what kids see in a nuclear family? Because I feel like all the things that Jackson saw when Will and I were married look very different than how we are now. But I feel like if I asked him, and I will ask him, probably over text, do you think that your parents are happier living separate or together? And I think that he would say separate. And like, I like the things that we do with y'all not together.
Well, I think too, like when people say, "I'll stay for the kids," it's
Hmm.
possible that you're with the same person and you're married and you have the nuclear family, and for 15 years you actually did cause trauma versus causing impact by leaving and dating new people.
Hmm. No,
Not saying that that's right. I'm not saying that that's like the answer. I'm just saying that the impact is different than trauma.
yes, I agree. And staying in a nuclear family home to avoid dating other people and maybe getting to a point of like your ultimate happiness, right? I feel like your kids seeing you under one roof and it being dysfunctional in that way by their two biological parents, that's going to shape them and what they expect out of their life partner much differently than them seeing you go through ebbs and flows through other relationships. And then hopefully the goal is like you find your ultimate happiness. And then they get to see a real depiction of love and a functioning life outside of dysfunction, which is what was going on in their nuclear family home.
So interesting. And to this listener's point, I'm a new mom and I'm curious. I would love for my kids to look back and think, damn, I had an awesome childhood. This goes back to months ago. I brought up a TikTok about this girl who said that you could take your kids to Disney every single year and they remember the one time you raged and like flipped out on them or something. So
Mhm.
like you truly don't know. Like if my
Well,
mom
and it's
took me
by the
somewhere,
child too, right?
yeah, and like this like twins even or versus like siblings, the regular siblings will have completely different perspectives on like Elliot remembers it one way, Lincoln might remember it a different way, Lux might remember it a different way, but we were all on the same fucking trip.
Wait, wouldn't it be so interesting for you to interview all of your kids and ask them like to describe their childhood?
Should I do that?
Yeah. Like, could you imagine? Because I feel like the answers are going to be so different.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna ask my kids to describe. Maybe I'll just do like I gotta come up. I'll have Kristen help me come up with some questions for what to ask them.
Yeah.
Maybe Kristen could even ask them because I don't want their answers to be biased if I'm the one like I don't want them to tell me what I want to hear. If
Yeah.
it's someone that's more neutral, I feel like we'll get real answers.
Like maybe you could have Kristen ask the questions and then you come in for the follow up once they've given the answer.
Love it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do
But
it.
could you imagine with that many kids, like Jackson's not going to have anything or any other person to compare to, right? So it's just going to be his version, which his version to him would be the truth
Yeah.
because he doesn't have a sibling to be like, well, that's actually not what happened.
Yeah. That's so funny. I'm gonna do that. It's gonna
But
be
I
so
think it also is there are people in this world, I think truly probably comes from birth that are like optimistic people and pessimistic people.
and realistic people is not the same
Yeah.
as pessimistic people.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I think that you never know. Like if I described my childhood, somebody else of my siblings would be like, that's actually not what transpired.
Like Kyle would probably be like, no.
Yeah, no. I mean, because also Kyle got in trouble all the time. So I wasn't getting hollered out all the time or punished all the time because I didn't get in trouble all the time. So I can't be like, oh, my parents were like mean or horrible. I can't say that. That would be a fucking lie.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I'm going to be so interested to watch you do this with your kids. Oh, also, while we were just like on the topic this episode of addressing things, I think people also think because I addressed garage games with Alessandra on Southern Tea last week, I think that they think that it was like me and you in a scuffle.
What?
And I was like, I don't know how anybody got that from that.
When was the last time we fought?
I don't know.
Like 2 years ago, maybe?
I don't know. I mean, I think you and I were jointly running for cover together in that.
Kristen said, I saw the fight. What do you mean? Kail hulked out. Wait, because I had no when we got back, I went to bed. Like I immediately went to bed and nobody saw me again for the rest of the night until you came into my room and got on my bed and was like telling me, like being funny, trying to convince me to come downstairs. Outside of that, I never saw you. So there was no fight at all. And
I know.
Becky also wasn't there. Like Becky was in New York, but she was not at the house.
Yes, she was.
Oh, she was?
That's how little you know.
I wasn't like I have 7 kids. When I have the opportunity to go to bed, I'm going to bed.
Kristen goes, yeah, Becky played garage games.
So wait, so Becky did play garage games.
No, I don't think that Becky actually played garage games. If she did, I wasn't present for that portion. I was hanging out with Becky and probably showing Becky more attention than others that were there. So, I don't know. Don't really want to speak on it that much. Just want to say that like you and I never got in a fight, so I don't know where people got that from.
I was today years old when I heard that.
And then we were definitely in a fight because we weren't on the recording together last week.
No, we weren't on the recording together last week because Kristen and Lindsie collectively made the decision that I was not in the right state of mind to proceed with the second recording. And so once again, sacrificing work for my mental health and for the well-being of my child, not hearing me super emotionally charged about some bullshit that I could not have anticipated. So
I would love for people to have been able to hear that phone call when we told you that you couldn't record.
I started crying. I was like, what
Kail
am I
was
going to
so
do?
upset. She was like, "What am I gonna do
If
if
I
I
don't,
can't
like,
work?"
if I don't have my kids, I have to work, or what the fuck am I supposed to do with my time? Like, I don't, people think that, like, what do y'all think that I do if I'm not taking care of my kids? Like, where do you think I'm just out fiddle fucking around?
Kristen said, "Take a GD nap."
Take, I can't sleep because I'm cracked out on fucking caffeine all day. Um,
No, I was like, "You just need to take some time and just zen out and like chill." And I don't think that it's good for you to be on this recording. And I was like, "We're not trying to bamboozle you. Like, we're
well,
not. We just want you well."
I'm better now. I told my therapist I'm working on it.
We love
Working.
that. And on that note, we have foul play. This person says, "Hello, kitties. I love listening to Coffee Convos. So when I realized that I had a foul play worthy story to share, I was way too excited. My husband travels for weeks at a time for work. He had been gone for 3 weeks, and I was swamped with work and kids' sporting activities. Kids' sporting activities the day he was scheduled to come home. He had a late flight, so after the evening settled down, I decided to save some time and try Nair bikini cream. Oh no. Hill said it worked, so why not? I lathered every inch down there and waited 6 minutes, started wiping it off, and was amazed at how well it was working. After just a few swipes, I started to feel the burn. I quickly wiped it off and jumped in the shower. The water made it worse and felt like my cat was on fire. I had to go commando in baggy sweats to pick up my husband from the airport. He was very eager to get home to the bedroom. I thought that I could deal with it, but the way that I hollered when he touched me was a sound that I'm sure that he'll never forget. I had to explain myself, and he was less than amused. With we had very we had very vanilla sex with me feeling like a virgin who wasn't ready for the D. Moral of the story: always do the patch test. Love you, ladies.
Okay. I feel like
First of all,
I need to explain here. Nair bikini cream works really well. It does say, I think, 6 minutes on the tube, but it does vary by person. It's not a one size fits all. So, like, I'm not sensitive. So, like, I could leave mine on for probably 8 minutes and be fine. But I feel bad if you don't do the patch test, you don't really know how long to leave it on. And she probably would have been impressed at 4 minutes versus 6 minutes, where I could be good with 8 minutes. Like, I am so sorry. So this is a full disclaimer that, like, if you're gonna try the Nair bikini cream, do the patch test. I am so sorry, and please tell your husband that I'm so sorry.
Kristen said the panic on Kail's face, laughing my fucking ass off. Like, first of all, I have not used Nair since I cried to my parents about wanting to shave my legs when I really didn't even have any hair to shave. But my dad was like, "You can use Nair. Like, that's as much as we're not getting in the game of razors. Like, we're not doing that in seventh grade. Like, you're gonna use Nair." I didn't even know that product still existed until you started talking about it. Do you use Nair down there regularly, and like it just wipes off the hair?
Yeah, because I don't know about anyone else, but I've talked about this before. I have to, like, squat down in the shower to, like, shave the hair because I can't get to it from certain angles. So I have to, like, squat down and, like, do all that. And
Remember when
so,
you were going to take a video for us, you fucking liar, and then you didn't?
yeah, I just, so it just takes a lot of time. So I was like, the amount of time that I could just put Nair down there, wash my hair, wash my face, do all the things, it'll have been 6 to 8 minutes for me. So I could just wipe it off versus trying to do all these crazy positions to get the hair off.
But how do you get like the internal hairs?
What internal hairs? Like inside the lips?
Yeah,
Just throw a little Nair in there.
on the inside?
I don't get hair in the, like, inside.
Well, it's just like on the top of your lip, like,
Yeah, I just put Nair there.
and then it just comes off.
Yeah.
Okay, but is this more like a prickly situation, like shaving, or is this more like a wax feeling?
I didn't have any feeling. It didn't burn me. It didn't hurt
No,
me.
like the way that it feels from the outside. Like when you use Nair, does it feel more like you possibly went to get waxed, or does it feel more like you shaved?
In my opinion, it feels like you got waxed. But
Okay.
I've already shared my um waxing situation. It takes a full half a day Kristen said she's a naked mole rat. Like for me to go get waxed, I have to drop the kids off at school, come shower, drive almost an hour, do the hour appointment or however long it takes with the waiting room and everything else, and then drive an hour back. It takes like a full half a day. So I do not have that in my schedule. There's nowhere closer for me to get that waxed. Also, if I'm being fully honest, I would probably know somebody who would be waxing my cat here in Delaware, and I don't love that idea. So it's easier for me to go get waxed in a huge city where no one gives a fuck.
Yeah, because I feel like there's not like non-disclosures as a waxer, so they could just like tell anybody about your hoo-ha.
Yeah, and somebody in Delaware is definitely going to talk shit about my cat, and I don't need that. So,
Okay, well, thank you guys for always supporting our show. Please subscribe and review on the Apple Podcast app, follow and rate on Spotify, or listen wherever you get your pods. Full video episodes are available on Kail's Patreon at www.patreon.com/Kail Lowry. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and join our Facebook group to connect with us and our community. We hope you guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.
see ya.